small red mark. And it's not a burning mark, it stays. So, he's not here at this moment either. He is gone. He was talking about something about visiting with an uncle. So,
visiting with an uncle? Yeah. So he's not here with you right now?
Right now, no. He was here, and then he was behind you, and now he's gone.
Is he usually with me?
I think he stops in when you're probably not paying much attention to it, and you catch him as he's leaving. The reason they do this is the moment you realize the person's there that's passed on, if you're really suffering from their death, they don't want you to pick up on them, because when we have someone who's living out, okay, women, we all understand this. This is my point. You walk into a room, you don't know a soul, but there's a woman across the way who looks at you and goes, oh damn, she doesn't like me. You know in a heartbeat how she feels about you just because she was like, and you pick that up. Okay, and it's just because it's what we do. We send like energy back and forth to each other. And that's how I read, is my energy circling you guys. And so my point was, I did have a point, I really did. But it's how we communicate, and I did have a point, but I went off.
So is it when we're suffering?
Oh, I'm sorry, that's what I was getting at. Thank you. When we lose someone, that part of them is gone. And the energy that we normally feel with them all the time, even when a person's not around, is gone. So when this person comes and visits, and all of a sudden that starts filling back in again, and you start to, it hurts, it's painful, because it's going to be ripped away again. And that's what hurts in breakups. It hurts when a person's energy is no longer with you. That's why people suffer from the loss of relationships or a person passing. And that's why he's not always around you, because he knows it causes you pain.
Do you know how he comes to me?
Well, it appears that it comes a lot when you're sleeping and when you're in the kitchen. There's a
hummingbird feeder outside of my kitchen window. And I'm standing doing dishes, and the hummingbird comes and looks right in the window at me. And I've said since we moved there, I think that's him.
Well, birds are a huge indicator of somebody who's passed over, who is visiting. And that could be an animal too, like if you lose an animal, animals will come back like that as well. But birds are a huge indicator. Also, watch for pennies, feathers, dimes, if they show up out of nowhere, those kinds of things. If you're thinking of someone and all of a sudden you're like, oh my gosh, there's a penny that wasn't there, that's, shove it in your shoe, just like that kind of thing. It's a good thing to do. But he, I guess, just wanted to make sure you knew he was around and that he's there and it was okay. And he looks quite happy.
He looks happy?
Yes, he looks quite happy.
He still loves me as much.
He what?
He still loves me as much.
Loves you as much? Oh, absolutely. Are you kidding? There's more than that over there. There's definitely. That's all they have. That's all they have. All right. And also, if I'm reading for one of you and it makes sense to you, say something. Because I will twizzle your parallel energies like that. It will just, if you've got an Uncle John and you've got an Uncle John and they're both in the Navy, they're both going to twizzle. And it happens every time. And people at the end are like, I think that was about me. And everybody's going, what?
I just have 7 or 8 bird things, including a hummingbird, doing that to me and my mother.
Well, yeah, and they do. Birds will, they will just show up out of nowhere. Feathers especially. Feathers, if they're a feather that should not be there, if it shows up, that's a definite sign. And it's funny because there's a lot going on, and when you have a question in your mind, pay attention to what you're thinking when you find that penny that, a feather or something. And it makes a lot of sense because it's like a confirmation or an affirmation that it's there, that it's happening.
Can I ask one more thing? Does he blame me in any way?
Absolutely not. It has nothing to do with you. It has nothing to do with you. None at all. Absolutely nothing to do with you. It was just like a trip up for him, like just a trip and a confusing point and for him. So nothing. It has nothing to do with you. He says no. And by the way, they don't have to be right here for you. Like he was majority of them are in a heavenly spiritual place that I come. That doesn't matter where they are. Okay. Let's see here. I'm trying to think. There's a lot of energy, and I just have to kind of, it's like a wave that goes in ups and downs and waves. And what, you don't have to be your name, that's fine. I just like to know, who are you?
I'm Crystal.
Crystal?
Yes.
Okay. Crystal, when or the first energy I pick up from you, again, this is also a male spirit that's coming through as well. And it's more like a male energy. And he feels, he feels like he's got a bit of a sense of humor. He's not here, I'm seeing him elsewhere. Good sense of humor, but at the same time, I feel like he's rather large, like he's a big guy, like good-looking, broad shoulders, wide back, very, he's trying to point, he must have really liked his body because he's going to line it up. Now, he also, they'll say things like that to, like this to acknowledge, but if I feel like there's something like on his shoulder, either a scar or a tattoo of some kind on his right shoulder, and he wants me to mention something about his head, too. And I'm not sure if it's a hairline or a scar, but he wants me to mention something about his head, the way a line on the side of it, just a scar. It's a scar.
Yeah.
And he says that he is sorry that he had to break a promise, and that he had to how do I put it? He had to break a promise. He I have to listen to what he's saying so I get it right. I had to break a promise, and then what are you saying? And then he did not realize, it's kind of like I'm interpreting for him. It's weird. He did not realize that it was his time, and he was living on a whole earthly thing. He never even thought of anything spiritual or beyond that. And so it came as quite a surprise, but it was also like, oh yeah, you're right, it's time. So he also knew that it wasn't something that came as a shocker to him when he was on the other side of it. It made a lot of sense, but he feels like he may have pulled a rug out or something from underneath you. Now he keeps showing me a ring as well, and this goes along, and it's funny because he's got this rug, and it's like a red carpet, like the stars are walked down. He's got this red carpet, and he's down on me, and he's got this one little rose, and then he's got this ring, and then he says, "I'm sorry for breaking the promise." So he is totally around you. Hi, come on in. He is totally around you, and is there an S anywhere around him, like a brother or somebody with an S?
He had a few brothers, but I didn't get to know them very well.
Okay. Okay, so you don't know him very well. Okay. He's talking about an S, a brother with an S that,
He had a younger brother that committed suicide.
okay. You don't know what his name was? Okay. But he is, he's got a funny laugh too. He wants me to point out his laugh. It's kind of mouth wide open, deep, kind of hearty laugh. And I guess that's what, while you're here, he wants to make sure you know he's around you and that he I don't think ever goes a day without making sure you're okay. So listen to those voices too. People come through. If you're sitting there going, gosh, should I really go out? They just called. It's like 10 and I'm ready to just watch TV, eat some ice cream. Should I really go out? And you hear, no, I won't go out. Stay in. There's a reason that you're hearing these things. And believe me, if you hear that and you still go out, I guarantee some shit's going to go on. And you do have to forgive me because I swear like a sailor, so I may do it without really knowing. My husband's like, did you just hear you just drop the F-bomb in front of the kids? I'm like, no, I didn't. He's like, you want me to replay that? I don't need to. It's just, I guess, that's what I do. But it's so much fun sometimes. Okay, so those guys are really strong energies that came through. So, and the spirits, I mean, when they really decide to come through, they just keep going and going and going until you get it, until you say something. Yeah, that happens at Walmart. Are you kidding? I'm not going to turn around and tell her behind you. Your sister's standing there. She's going to hit me. With her false teeth or something. Okay. All right. Your energy. I'm sorry. What is your name? I like to just, because sometimes you go with me.
I'm Chris.
Chris, okay. Chris, you have around the top of your head, you have these little lavender crystals kind of just floating around the top of your head, and then there's the circle of them, and then they come up to a point, kind of like a cap, and then it goes up. That tells me that you are, and you also, before I go on, you have around your ankles like cuffs around both ankles, and they're tied to your middle toe. So there's like a chain to your middle toe. What those two things tell me right off the bat is your intuition and your spiritual connection is quite high, and you probably are more clairvoyant or psychic. I hate the word psychic. My sister Cleo, I hate it, man. I hate that, you know. It's so, it's like bad connotations of the word psychic. But there's it's there, and the intuition is real strong, and the ability is there. But then you've got these things on your feet that show that you're held back quite a bit. I don't know if it's the people around you, or what people around you believe, or the situations around you, but that's what these mean is you're being held back by things around you that really opening up to it. And it's not hard. You just, anybody can do what I'm doing. I took a lot of time to pay attention to it.
I do feel that I'm sensitive, but I don't know. Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know. I guess I have to figure out how to.
It's you know what? I'm going to tell everyone right now, and if I'm saying so, pay attention, because a lot of it will make sense. I'll be doing a reading of, that makes so much sense. I got to take that. If you hear something and then you ignore it and blow it off as a coincidence, and then later on it happens, go back and go, where did that come from? Okay, I heard it or I felt it. Where did I see that? Where did it come through? And then the next time you get something, pay attention to it and take a chance on being right or wrong. And that's how I honed this, was when I first started reading, it was like a circus act. It was a lot of fun. Everybody's like, oh, she's got a reason, she's funny. Okay, but I was right, but then I was wrong a lot of times. And so what I did was I used the times I was wrong as like a connection word. And went, okay, that came through there. Don't trust that anymore. I can't listen to that. That's not correct. And this is right, so always trust this. So anybody can do it. And the more you listen and the more you pay attention, your guides will start to send you more information, and it'll just start flowing, and it'll start little, and then all of a sudden, oh, I'm thinking about my girlfriend Joe, and all of a sudden Joe calls, and I was just thinking about you, I was thinking about you. Well, you just send each other that vibe, so you call each other. Everybody's done it. I guarantee everybody in this room has done that. Because everybody can do it. I just wish more people would pay attention to it, because I think it would be a lot better place to live, because having this ability is really scary. Because not only do you see the good, but there's bad always around, always there. And if this is how I liken it, is you're being born, and as you're being born, you're up, okay? And your angel, your archangel, your arch guide, is the one that's been with you through all of your lives, is standing here and has your guides for this lifetime with them. And says, this is Mary. And Mary has a huge thing to do in this lifetime. And God wants her to do this and this and this, and this is her destiny, and she's got to do this. So when she's down, lift her up, feed her some information, give her everything she needs, and all the clues and all the signs and everything she needs to keep moving on He's not hard to hear. He's right here in your ear. So he's standing there, and he's got his little guys back here, and he says, this is Mary. And God has a plan for her, and he wants her to do this and this and this and this. But we can't let her do that. So when she's down, I want you to kick her. And when she's down even harder, I want you to kick her harder. So she goes down harder, and she stays down, and she's hurting, and she doesn't think she can do it anymore. And then she gives up, and then she just leaves this world forever, and then we win. And God loses. And that is what everybody has and goes through in this lifetime. Some people don't pay attention to it, some people do. And that's what I'm constantly going through. Anybody who's open to it, people, it's scary because I always think of people in mental hospitals. Because I don't think all of them are that crazy. I just think a lot of them are super connected, sensitive. And they just don't know how to separate reality from what they're hearing because you can go crazy. Go crazy. And God forbid I was like this. I think I was in a previous life. That's why I'm like, stay away from the hospital. I did. I worked in one time. And I was like there for a month or two. I was like, I can't do this. I can't even be around these people because they freak me out. I can't do it. I think I was one at one point. I carried some of that residue into this life. All right. What is your name? Kim. Kim. Okay. All right. So when my guides talk to me, this is where I lose the eye contact here. When my guides talk to me, the first thing that they show me for a person is a beach. When I do a reading for someone, this is what I look for. The beach represents safety, security, and grounding. I mean, the water, the ocean represents problems, situations, and things that a person sees coming at them, but it can represent opportunity as well. Now, the first thing I pick up from you, okay, well, let me go back a little bit. So, there's so many symbols. Beyond the beach is a house that represents you specifically. So, just, it's a pretty house, whatever, that tells me a lot about you. Now, walking, gosh, they want me to keep going back. Okay, first thing they want me to say to you before I even read your beach is money. Finance, money situation here. And they're saying that whatever is going out has to stop at this. Stop, cut it off, no more, no more. They're saying to tell you somehow or other, the money that is going out, you must stop. You can't, don't buy anything big, don't give money out, that's kind of along the line. Don't get involved with anything where your money is pouring out because it's a loss. You're not going to get it back. And I feel as if there are sweet words around this and a lot of sugary words, but gosh, you know, there's nothing solid about it. It's like they're telling you you can't trust these words. So I would say whatever you have to do with money, make sure you know all details, fine print, cutting, red tape. It's like a major, they're like forcing me repeatedly to tell you this. Also, they're saying that there is a portion of your path right now that you're going to be walking alone. And when I see this, it is you are walking up to your house, and you have a chainsaw, and as you walk up to the house, you cut it straight down the middle. Now, the house is you. You're cutting you in half. Well, this tells me also that there's a major transition going on in your life right now, and you're having to start with yourself with the ground up and move up from there and figure out, okay, who am I? What do I want to do? Where do I want to go with this? How do I want this to look? What do I want right now? Like you're starting off fresh. There's something fresh about a new beginning around you. And transitions are difficult because they cause us to reassess ourselves and to look at ourselves and figure out what we like and what we don't like, what's good, what's bad. And I think this cutting your house in half, it almost feels like you were forced to do this. This wasn't a choice. Like, I think I'm going to go and fix myself. It was almost like, dang, now I got to fix everything. And those things are no fun because there's earthly things that are then placed on you or forced on you as well. And I just, it just feels like there's sugary words. There's deception somehow around this. So if you don't already know what I'm talking about, just be careful with that. And your guides are like really worried because it takes you a few times to learn. So, meaning, it's, your guides will put up, and this is for everybody, your guides will put you through situations, and then when you've finally gone, okay, I'm done, I'm never going to do this, then they'll take you and put you in a kind of similar situation, different person, different, example, and then go, now let's see if she really learned her lesson. And that's what they'll do. And if not, you learn it all over again. You go, I just learned this. I don't want to learn it again. So think back, what have I had to go through that was hurtful or painful? And what is similar to that right now that I don't want to deal with? But for an example, bad relationship, let's say, sometimes it takes people a long time to learn. It took me a friggin' couple of times to learn. Bad relationship, alcoholic, loser. Okay, leave loser. Okay. Okay. Meet what you think is the fated person, because everything just fell into place. And oh my gosh, he likes Jeeps, and you drive the Jeep, and you have a sudden, yes, son, and everything is all in place. Oh my God, we spent the whole day in the carnival together. Okay. So you figure this is like the one, it's fated, it's meant to be. Then you realize that it's not. And I don't know if anybody knows this expression, but do you like to party? Sure, I like to party. I don't drink, but I like to party. Sure. Not my kind of party. Not my kind of party. Walked in, find out it's a cold party. No. Bye. I was like that, how stupid. But I'm not learning this lesson again. You can't fix stupid, you just can't fix it. So I was like, loser number 2. Probably more than like loser number 10, but we'll just go with that. All right, so that's kind of what it is pay attention and figure out, as painful a situation is, do I really want to go through and learn something similar to that? I don't have to, I've already gotten it. So you just have to tread lightly, and you can avoid a lot of problems and a lot of things just by listening to what we're talking about right now. And that's another thing is too, is a lot of this stuff I read is precautionary to prevent something negative from happening, because it doesn't have to be a certain way. It doesn't, you can make changes in the plan. It can be health or something, that sort of thing. But what they're saying is this is what's going to happen, but open your eyes and it won't. It'll be prevented. Just don't be deceived. That's the key there. And before I move on, there's an older gentleman with you. I want to say father figure, but it almost feels like this would be like stepdad or someone that would have been like a father in your life somehow. Because he's like backed up a little bit. He wants to represent father figure, but at the same time he's kind of nervous about it. So he may be father, but he may not have been like the greatest relationship somehow. And he wants to, he says, he's talking about blossoming like a flower or something, coming out and finally becoming the flower. And it's funny because, again, he's not sure how to say it. He's like, yeah, so just tell you, just want to say hi and let you know that I'm here, and just in case you want to know. So he's not sure how to approach you. So be a father figure, somebody who acted like that in life, or have been a male figure. And he's just shy, or not shy, kind of reserved. Interesting. Very interesting. I want to see if there's anything else he has to say before I move on to make sure I'm getting it correct. Okay. I really want to get as many people as possible. I get to go on. Spirit starts. Oh, man, I can't stop. What is your name?
Julianne.
Okay, so when I first see you, you are on your beach, which is good. Being on your beach tells me that you are secure, you're grounded, you're safe. You spend a lot of time on the water, or you have spent a lot of time on the water. What that tells me is that it's not so much spontaneity, it's more like a roaming or flow and always seeking out new things to bring into your life, never just accepting the way things are. And so you spend a lot of time on the water. And it's not because you're lost or you're having issues, it's just because you're contemplating, you're thinking, you're looking around, you're taking everything in. So there's a constant form of growth around you. Also hearing a form of the words overcome. And so it feels like you've I'm sorry, it comes through so quickly and I have to make sure I'm saying it correctly. Overcoming something huge to get where you are today. And they show you like kind of crouched down, and then you get up and you start walking, but you don't just start walking. You kind of take like a few steps, and it's really a labored movement that they're saying, the movement to walk. That's how we're kind of representing this overcome. It feels like it would be a physical, so it could be a health issue, overcoming an accident, something of that nature. But it's, I'm sorry, I have to weed out what's being said, because you've got a lot going on. And you've got like a chorus of people here on your beach with you, and they all are talking at the same time. And the fact that you're kind of, you're laid back and quiet about things would make sense. You've got all these really loud people over here doing a lot of talking, but you aren't. And so I'm trying to hear one of them sounds like they're saying, tell her to just go for it. And another one is saying, oh, just don't sit down, keep going, keep going. It's almost like they're trying to get you to move to do. I'm trying to put like an hour reading into a few seconds for you, because that's how fast it's coming through here. So overcoming, and it feels more like autoimmune or a health issue of some kind. It feels like overcoming. And then it feels as if you're more of the viewer. You pay attention, you stop, you look, and you're not the one who's the vocal person, whereas a lot of these people are. The two that are talking there's a man and a woman, and I don't think that they would have been married in life. They feel more like siblings or something, like they're stacked, so they'd be more like siblings. They're not really saying much other than telling you to move on or to go for it, to don't hold back. And I think they're doing that because of your personality or your nature. But they're not really saying much of anything else. And that will happen when they know that you're okay, when they know that you're not really in pain. They just want to let you know that they're there. And I don't consult the dead, so I can't ask them. I'm not going to ask them questions. If they offer it, that's great. But I'm not going to ask questions unless you were to ask the question and then they hear you and then they answer it. But I try to make sure that everybody is happy. And I've had so many people go, "You are the devil, you consult the dead." And I don't consult the dead. They come to me. So.
I just want to know how to hear and interact with a certain one that's passed on.
I think you already do. You already have, you just don't trust it. That's the problem. You hear it, you get the answers, you just don't trust it. One way to test it, one way to figure out, am I really talking to Joe, or is that just me thinking I'm talking to Joe? Ask the question if you feel like, okay, all of a sudden you sense that person is there. Okay, you feel them there, you smell them, or you sense that you're being watched, and you get that feeling. Ask the question, start talking to that person. It doesn't have to be out loud, it can be in your head. They don't need you to, you don't need to move lips for that. When you get an answer that you start actually responding to, maybe in an argument, that's when you know for sure that you're not talking to yourself. You're arguing with somebody else who's trying to make a point. Also because they'll say things that you normally wouldn't think, or things that you wouldn't say. And majority of the time when we are talking to ourselves, we're really not talking to ourselves, and that's the greatest part. We're talking to our guides. And you know, has anybody ever done this? Because everybody has those stupid earphone things. I'm always talking to these guys up here. And I'll be in the car and I'm like, oh my God, people are watching. So I'm like, yeah, or I'll pick up my phone, yeah, sure, whatever. My kids are like, who are you talking to? Like, nobody will stop. People in my head, right?
I'm just wondering if someone, I've kind of thought that when someone has that contract and they're going to come into the world, like, because I've adopted a couple of kids, like, they picked that family to be born into. Like, if suddenly someone steps in and says, oh, you should be, you know, adopted by another family because that biological family can't raise you properly, like, did they know that? Did they end up in the wrong family?
No.
Or was it like they kind of knew they didn't know?
No, before we're born, we already know before we're born what our parents are going to be going through, what they're going to be doing in their lifetime. And we also know, is this family going to help us or help me to learn what I need to learn? Are they going to be junkies and I have to figure out how to survive? Or are they going to be really rich and I'm going to be a snot nose? I mean, it really just comes down to what we need to learn and what contract we write with God about our life. And that's what God knows everything. We don't. He does. But so if a child is born to a family and this child is adopted out, that's the way it's supposed to be. It's meant to happen that way. If a child is born and is run over and loses all leg movement, it is meant to be that way. It's not like it's their life. It's what they're supposed to learn in this lifetime, is how to get by, how to succeed, how to move past this disability. So that's what you always have to remember, is no matter what happens. Has anybody had a deja vu ever? Okay, so think of the point in your mind where your last deja vu was, and think how perfectly wonderful and mistake-free your life was beyond that, before that. Anyone? What a deja vu is to let you know that when you are experiencing, oh, I've been here, I've done it. A deja vu has saved my ass on a final one time, okay? It's because you have just caught up in perfect alignment with your life, your script, your contract. You are like right there, like, oh, you're right there with your contract, and then it goes ahead, and then you start moving up slowly behind it. And it's to let you know you are exactly where you are supposed to be, exactly at this moment. It's reassuring to know that all the screw-ups you've done previously haven't meant a thing. You were supposed to do all those things. And even if you're having the worst night of your life at the crappiest party of the century, and you go, oh my God, I was here before, and she fell just like that and smashed her face into the table. Deja vu! Great, you're supposed to be there, right there, watching that happen. You're supposed to do that. It's just the way things go. And she broke her nose. Oh, what's supposed to happen? And so we write those contracts. Children will be born through a certain family, go through maybe a little bit of hell before they may not be adopted until they're older, and go through a lot of garbage in their life before they're adopted out. And it's what they're supposed to learn. It's how they're supposed to get by and figure it out. So, I mean, if you think about it, if you were to come back, it's probably going to be a different culture, a different country, there's so many different people you could be, so, and to learn all those things. And then you think, gosh, do I really want to learn that? No. But it would be interesting to figure it out. And I'll reassure everybody too, this is really cool to know, but a lot of movie stars, a lot of the famous people, those are the really easy lives. And I mean by, not so easy, I have to correct that. They are difficult in the way that the person is going to go through a lot of personal issues, but they have a lot of things just given to them, which makes things very easy. And so, if you were to come back and say, I want to be a movie star, and I want to be really rich, and I want to have all the cars in the world, that's a really not a spiritual life, wouldn't you say? It's not. You're not going to learn anything from it other than you're going to have to come back again because you're not going to learn anything. The people like John Belushi killed himself. You know, what's her name? Beehive.
Amy
Winehouse. These are people who have made it and aren't supposed to be there and are in such turmoil with their lives because they don't know what else to do and they've gotten themselves in so deep. And so that's kind of how that works. And they're trying to fix it. So what you really strive for in this life, regardless, is a spiritual one. And you don't have to be like knocking a Bible on your head. I don't. I love God. I love Jesus. Totally saved my ass on many occasions. And you should strive for that personally. You don't have to go to church every day or on Sunday. I don't. It's what you do when you're alone, and it's how you contact Him when you're alone and communicate. So moving on. This is why I say prayer every time to make sure I get out what I'm supposed to get. What's your name?
Lana?
Lana. Alana or Lana?
Just Lana.
Lana. Okay. You have 3 guides around you right now. Now, 3 is kind of an average number. 1 is that everything's an easy go for you. 6 means, holy crap, I need help on every angle. The 3 is about average. So that shows me that you've got one in front of you and on either side. You're being led and you're being kept on your path. Maybe because you dilly-dally, maybe because you stop once in a while, maybe whatever. So that's why they're keeping you from getting distracted. Everybody's had a hard life. You don't have to be psychic to know that, okay? Everybody's had problems. But they want me to acknowledge for you the different constant changes of path and exit points that you've had to take all of your life. Nothing is ever easy or straight. And they also want you to know that this was and is the way it was supposed to be. But they also want me to, it's like if I had a little aura or spirit hammer, I'd put a little thing on your head and go crack, and then crack all of the protections you have around you because you're so super really protected from people and energies, and you don't let a soul in, you don't let anybody else see you. You just cross your heart. Okay. I don't want to touch on anything too sensitive, but it's a protection, and your guides it's funny because when you do that, your guides kind of want to take your arms and put them down, and they want you to open up. They're saying that, they're telling me that a lot of the trust issue is because so many people have left your life, and so many people are gone, and you don't really ever have closure or a reason for any about it. It's just like, was it me? Was it this? Did they do this because of this? And so there's never, it doesn't matter how they left, there's never any closure for you on it. And so your ability to let people in is going, hell no, I don't know you long enough, like 20 years isn't even enough. I need to know that you're going to be here, and it takes you a while to let people in. There is also a form of, I'm just going to generalize it, abuse that I'm seeing as well. And it could be, there's so many different kinds, but we don't have to go there. And they show, this really important thing here is that they show me a dollhouse, and there's a light on in a little bedroom, and then they show you like this up in the corner of it, like this. And so this is a protection for you that you've played, like your spirit has placed you into a little girl's dream house, into a fairy tale that you still have in your mind that anything is possible, but it's on the very, 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 very inside. And so it's still there and it's still alive in you. It's just such a vulnerable little place. You protect it with everything because it's like you feel like if I lose that little girl in the dollhouse, then I will lose all of who I am. And so you protect it. God forbid anybody gets to it. A lot of people and your guides want you to let people into that. And they want you to kind of take that little girl out. And see, now I can manipulate people's visions when I'm doing this. That's how I read. It tells me, does she like dogs? No, she doesn't like dogs. That kind of thing. I can put dogs in there. I can put cats. I can put people. And so, if, taking this little girl out of the dollhouse, holy crap, kicking, screaming, wants back in the dollhouse. No, don't take me out. And then all of a sudden I hear your name, but it's in a really, really high pitch, like, like a scream. And it echoes throughout the house. So this will go back to parental being brought up. This goes back to parents, and that's where the trust issues are at too, as far as the connections. You also want to be careful of the reverse connection, as far as how you feel about men and women, and you will recognize that where you've been hurt the most is who you will sympathize with the most. Excuse me. Meaning, how do I say it? You will give that person or those people more of a break. So you want to make sure you're not walked on. You want to make sure you're not. And see, you as guarded and protected as you are, you still find yourself taken advantage of because you try to make as many people as you can happy, but you can't make everybody happy all the time. You can't. And you try still. And then you get hurt and you go, I knew it. It just kind of solidifies your feeling of why you shouldn't have let that person in the first place. So your guides are there saying, let it go, let everything down. Put yourself in a position to get hurt, just for a little while. Like, say, I'm going to get hurt today. Don't walk in front of a car. But just tell yourself, everybody should wake up one day and go, today I'm going to get hurt. And I'm talking emotionally. So, and then you're going to go and do and say everything you can to put yourself completely out there and see what you get back. It usually works. It's pretty interesting what you get back. If you see somebody and they are just ticked off at the world and you're like, hi, how are you? And you smile. Either they're going to say, shut up, smartass, or they're going to smile back. And usually that's really fun when people are in a bad mood to do something like that. And antagonize just a little bit. Yeah, sometimes that's fun. Okay, so you're taking care of her, but your guides are around you, and that's good. So they want you to know that. Is anybody, like my hands are frozen. Is anybody else having Okay, so it's not just me. All right, okay. Well, on the way here, when I'm doing this, I get really, really hot. I get hot flashes real bad because I'm kind of vibing on everything for the night. And I was dying on the way here, and then my hands are just okay. Cold hands won't matter, right?
Turn the heat up.
Yeah.
I turned the heat up.
What time is it? I want to make sure I get as many people in.
7 o'clock.
Oh, perfect. Okay. Good. All right. Let's see here. What's your name?
Jamie.
That's why I said your name.
Tila.
Tila? Okay. The first thing that they show me for you is you are walking up a set of stairs. Now, stairs will represent education, they'll represent change financially, where career is concerned, a direction in life that is changing. So, education, either you're in school now or some form of change where education and learning is going to take place. If it's offered to you, go for it. Get involved. If it's through work and you're offered, go for it. But I feel like it feels almost as if there's like an indecision or a really not like uncertainty. And as soon as the stairway appears, now you're a bit defiant, okay? And I think you're walking up the stairs not because you want to or anybody else is pushing you to do it. It's because it's something different. So there's a little bit of defiance in the way that you're walking up the stairs. And it's like almost like it's off limits. And I want to make sure I understand this is speaking. I think what I'm talking about hasn't happened. It's about to happen. So they're giving you the info. Pay attention to magazines, newspapers, billboards, things that all of a sudden you start seeing the same thing from all different angles. Pay attention to it because you're supposed to go in this direction. Now, it has to do with your life and your direction in life as far as career and schooling. You would think that you would be good in healthcare, but you're not because you really don't dig people. What I mean is, you don't like dealing with people like that, like someone like that. So we don't put you at the door or anything. I'm trying to figure out, this is where I'm picking you up and putting you in, I'm trying to figure out which direction I want you to go. This is not healthcare. It's not customer service. It's not HR. It's not children. You know what it is? Because you don't have patience. You have no patience. You have no tolerance of people. This is different. This is weird though, because see, I'm having trouble placing you in a lot of places. You make a great cop, great law enforcement. You would make if you could do this, you'd make a great lawyer too. Well, because you have a tongue like a rapier and you can shred people. Right, exactly. But see, that kind of stuff, what you're showing me is great. You would be awesome in a quick, having to think kind of a position, like being a lawyer. You'd be really, really, really good at it. But there is, like, when I'm placing you in all these places, the fact that you aren't good with people says that how do I put it? I've used this example before because this is like my example. It's an ugly duckling example, okay? So a little ugly duckling is here, nobody likes him because he's not accepted, he looks totally different, and he's totally made fun of and abused for a long time by everybody around him. And then he blossoms into this beautiful swan. That's your story. What they're saying is, what you carry and what you harbor is because of how you've been treated for so long by the people around you, and that's where your anger comes from. And the best part about being an ugly duckling is when you see the people that were like the bullies and the abusers, and they're losers now, and you can thumb your nose at them and say, look at me, I'm successful, I've done this, and I'm a good person. So that's the best part about seeing those people. And that's what you have to. Okay, another example, because that didn't hit home, I don't think, very well for you. Some of us go to school of life when we're little, and we are given a really tough time. Maybe you go through a really bad divorce, or not you, but your parents. Maybe you're made fun of. Maybe you have no friends. Maybe you got a problem. Maybe there's a lot of stuff going on as a kid, okay? And people don't understand it, and you don't open up about it either, okay? So you go through hell when you're younger. And you grow up, and all of a sudden you figure stuff out. And you run into those people who now are going through divorce and have a lot of problems, and have a lot of issues, and are struggling, and aren't sure if they can make it. People who go through it here are there to help the people here, because these people have nobody at this point. And that's why you go through stuff when you're younger. Oh, you are a hard-shell wreck. I are a wreck. Because you don't believe me. I want you sometime when nobody is home to stand in front of the mirror. Okay? Everybody can try this sometime, but I want you to do this. I want you to have a conversation as if you are not you, but you're looking at me. Okay? You're standing in the mirror. Okay? I want you to say everything to the person in the mirror that you can't stand about that person. And then I want you to tell the person in the mirror everything that you love about the person in the mirror. What you're going to find is there are things you harbor about yourself that you would never have even considered, and you never even would have thought about it, and you have to forgive yourself of these things. You have to let them go, or else you're just going to be miserable the rest of your life. How old are you? Oh, crap. Oh, God. Okay, you got another, 79 years to go, all right? Figure 100 years. You want to make sure they're really good. And in order to have everything you want that's going on up here, you have to have it all with yourself, because you're holding yourself back. and you want to stop, because all of these things have a lot to do with who you are today, and they're making you who you are today, but you want to be the best you can. And so what I said before about walking up the steps and the education, it's going to come. There is a change in pathway where you're going, and you just need to have it out with yourself. But when nobody's home though, because then you can really let loose. Everybody's gonna be like, oh my gosh, okay. And you don't want everybody to know your business either. You want to keep it private, because that's a private thing. So, but you're awesome. You really have an awesome soul. You just have to realize that. Sometimes we listen too much to what everybody tells us, and you live by that. You know, we live by those horrible things. I don't give a crap anymore. I mean, honestly, I always tell people, the Rebecca that reads is not the Rebecca that's your friend. That's the crazy person that you just like, do you really want to be friends with this person? And it's the truth, because I'm doing what I'm supposed to do up here for him. But who the real Rebecca is just not. It's not. So you gotta like who you are, and you just can't care really. Well, you want to care. You want to care what other people. You want to make sure you take care of other people, but at the same time, you don't want to change who you are for other people either. Okay. And you just, as I was walking away from you, a man just gave you a big old fat kiss right on your cheek, just so you know. And heavier set, like heavier in the middle, kind of no butt, so he would have had to either keep pull his pants up or tie his belt. And darker hair, and probably a mustache. I would have to say mustache because he's trying to like decorate his face. Darker hair. I don't think it's not like apparent, I don't think, because your face is more heart-shaped and his face is more round. Because it's been like a grandfather, he's got like salt and peppery. Wants me to point out his midsection, like a scar, maybe like an appendix, or maybe a liver or something, some kind of a surgery. Does that make sense to you? Yeah, does that make sense to you? Do you understand what I'm talking about?
Not really.
Grandfather, he's right there, so he's obviously associated with you guys.
My uncle.
5'9", 5'10". But it's like his stomach, like he's got the stomach you could like punch, and it's like he doesn't budge. It's like a solid stomach. And when he's got no shirt, and it's a definite like indent, it's a scar that he's got on his belly. Do you know him? An L or a J around his name?
Larry?
Larry. Is that your uncle?
It's my dad.
It's your dad. Okay. Does he fit the description?
He's got he used to.
Before.
He had the real hard.
Like he would punch it and it was like, and he could take it.
But I don't know.
Now his hair, was it darker but it started like salting or thinning or something? He wants me to point out
Very
that.
thin.
Okay, it was the mustache. Do you have a mustache? What he want? It's definitely like a mustache or like 5 o'clock shadows. Like he wants me to acknowledge the decorating of your face. Did he have spots or anything wrong with his face that he's trying to acknowledge?
No.
Okay. And then no butt.
That's very well.
Does the scar make any sense?
No.
No indent. Am I picking up on somebody else's description too? Like nothing like that? No Larry or anything like that?
But he didn't have a mustache either.
No. Yeah, it's something on his face. It's like it's something on his face. I would assume it would be like a mustache or a beard. But he snapped you on the face with a big kiss. And did he have, like, was he missing two
Bad teeth.
Yeah, okay. Still can't get away from that. Do you have a mark or something on his belly? Do you know something? Well, he had open heart surgery, didn't he? But that's that would be up here.
Yeah.
Right. It sure looks like it's right on his belly. It sure looks like it's right on his belly. He didn't have like a what do they call those little bags? What's it called? Colostomy bag?
Well, he had dialysis for a while, but
Dialysis?
not a colostomy bag.
Do they have to go in somehow? How long do they have to go in somehow like that? Dialysis? They just do that through the veins, don't they?
Right.
Interesting. And then he wants to meet, he goes like this. He sits down real slow. He goes like this. And then he goes like this. And he's pointing out his foot and his ankle. So he point out his foot and his ankle on his left foot. And mirroring him. Anything about that makes sense? Okay, you know, take what you don't understand to other people and see if the star or the ankle of the foot make any sense. He's trying to give you stuff to acknowledge that it's him. Thank you for turning the heat on. It's like, one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice.
Okay, next question, like our dad has the ankle thing, was his left ankle a plate in it? Is there any way that,
An appendicitis.
yeah, he had his appendix out?
And he had his appendix out. Does he have anything to do with a boat? Or a ship?
In the army.
He was, and they were hit by lightning or something. and-
Now, if he had said it was hit by lightning, that would have definitely been him, but he didn't say that.
I remember a story it was told, but he wasn't hit by lightning.
We had a boat as a kid.
Yeah, you
Oh,
got
that was
the
hit
water.
by lightning? I'll have to see if they differentiate, if they like are separated.
He also had a very dark beard. I mean, not a beard, but just, if they were going out at night, he'd have to shave.
Did either of them have anything to do with like their back, like spinal or anything like that? Lower back?
He had a bad back.
No, it would be like a procedure or something that would take for their backs and stuff. No. Interesting. I'll keep them out just in case, but anyway, so it would be your dad and I'm picking up on this.
That would be fun.
You know why it's frustrating? Because I know what I see, what they're showing me in you, and you don't see it. And that's the hardest thing to do with what I do. Because I see things in people that they don't see in themselves. And it's like, how do you make somebody actually see it? They have to feel it. You have to feel it. Interesting. All right. What is your name? Aaron. Aaron? Aaron, when I first see you, you are walking, I had mentioned before the house. You were here for the house, right? The whole house thing? Okay. Beyond the house is like is a forest. Forest represents a path in a person's life when we kind of feel lost. We go it alone. There's really nobody there to help us, and you're just coming out of that forest. You walked alone in this really dark forest, because they're dark, for a long time by yourself. And I think also the fact that you're here right now is a huge testament to your strength and spirit. Because those kinds of times, when like that forest, those are times when we really go, is this all worth it? Do I really want to be here? I don't even, we really question everything. And so you're walking out of the forest and you look like ragged. You look like you've just been there a long time and you haven't eaten and you've suffered emotionally, spiritually. You've really been put through a lot. Now, those kinds of times are really hellish, but at the same time, we come out of them so much stronger because we realize, oh, okay, I did this, I got through it, and now I know I can survive it. And those are also the times when I liken it to walking through the desert. It's when you're really literally smash down to absolutely nothing. And that's when you're on your knees going, okay, I can't do anymore, I can't take this anymore, I can't handle anymore. And that's when God goes, okay, and puts you in his hand and melts you down to absolutely nothing. And he uses you at that point and creates, and you are at a point where he is able to say, okay, now she has given up all power and strength and ego, and I'm able to make her into what I want to make her. And then he pretty much forms you and helps you and thinks the way you think and how you act and what you do. And how many people have gone through that or felt like they've been through that, where they've just been on their knees and been melted down to nothing? It takes huge humility. Do you know what I'm talking about? Anybody else? It's a time when you really are at the end. You're at your wit's end, and you don't. It's like when you're like this. That's what I'm talking about. And you come out, and you're just like, and you're wiping your head, and you're sniffling, and then you look up and you stop. You're like, you're barefoot. There's nothing holding you back right now. There's nothing preventing you from doing anything. Your outfit is just a loose dress. It's kind of shaved a little bit up and ripped and torn. There's nothing on it that is tight to you or your waist. There's nothing holding you back. Right now, whatever you wanted to do and whatever you set your mind to do, you could do. But you can't, I have to correct myself. I'm ahead of what they're saying. You have to let go of any guilt. You have to let go of any question in your mind as to why you are walking out of this forest and why you are where you are right now. You have to let go of all guilt. You have, hold on to see this. Right now what you're also going through, this is residue from a past life, okay? And it's involving another party. So there's someone else involved here from this situation that was long ago. It looks like 20s, 1920s. Really cool. If you have a draw to a certain time period or a certain era, a certain world, certain land, and you just love it, you just want to go there, and you would love to visit it, you'd love to see that time. It's probably because you lived then and it was a good life. And it's just like if you love Arizona, you love horses, maybe you lived that. If you love Italy, you probably have it's that kind of thing. It's those times and eras and ages that you were drawn to, that you just had a really good life and you remember it. It's those feel-good moments, We used to have this museum in Iowa that I lived in Iowa too. And it was an old, old pioneer town, and they had moved all of these original buildings in and built this huge street, and you could walk into all of the buildings. And you walk in, and I'm like, you can smell the old wood, and you can smell the leather, and you could close your eyes and you were there. And that's what I'm talking about. You've got a connection right now to past life, and you probably are just coming out of it. And so this could also, what they show me in the past is you've lost someone, and it's like 1920s, and a person around you has passed. It's like a husband or something, and this person has died. And it doesn't look like on good terms that this person has died. And somehow or that residue is playing here now. So it could be that maybe you haven't lost anybody, maybe you have, but either way, the alignment of that life with this one could cause a parallel and can cause anxiety, it can cause panic attacks, it can cause a lot of fears to happen because you subconsciously remember this happening at this age, right now. This is kind of what this, like a parallel, but it's not from this lifetime. Does that make sense? Do you understand that? Am I explaining it wrong?
It makes sense how you're explaining it.
Does it? Okay. It's just like, I thought, my whole 24th year, I kept hearing when I was little I was going to die when I was 24 in a car accident. Well, it's not this lifetime, it was a different lifetime. But my whole 24th year, I was paranoid, freaked out every time I got in the car. And that was last year, so. have a leader's personality, but you don't use it because you restrain yourself. But you really should use it in a quiet circle manner, even like a subdued manner, where you're not standing up and shouting that you're the leader, but you are listening and allowing others to open up. Because if you were perfect, and this is a great example for everybody, if you were perfect, you couldn't help anyone. And when God puts you into that position and melts you down, He puts you in a place that others can say, oh, she gets me, she understands me, and I can trust this person. Because if you were perfect, God, then you can't help anybody because you don't understand, you don't know. So if I were you, I would open yourself up slowly but surely to like volunteerism, to make like a women's shelter, or someplace where you can offer your ear and advice to people on, this is where I was and this is how I got out of it, this is how I moved past this. And I think that's like just like the threshold of what you're about to do. But I don't want to say that you're counseling people and I don't want to say that because it's not it's not right for you. It is, you're guiding people. And you're doing it just like you're doing right now. Like you're not even talking really to them. You're their support. You're helping them. Interesting. Does that make sense?
Yes, yes.
She's our boot camp.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
You teach boot
She's
camp.
very good.
And that's crazy because you are just like so like introverted. Wowzers. But you're like Beyonce because when she's on stage she's like what, Sasha or whatever her name is. You know what I'm talking about? What does she use when she gets on stage? She's Sasha here. Because she's so introverted, subdued like that. She gets on stage and she's rocking it. But yeah, you have a lot to let go of. Because when you walk out to, as I look, you've got these like hooks in your back of all this trail behind you. So you just have to sometimes it's nice to just do a little ritual. And that would be one of them, to see yourself unhooking all of this that you know is behind you and letting it go. And then not feeling guilty about letting it go. Like today, I didn't feel guilty when I left my husband with 2 screaming babies. I was like, oh. I do not feel guilty. See you later. I'm telling you, you don't get it. You don't get it. Sorry. All right. What's your name? Lynn. I know you from somewhere, but it may not be. I don't know why I know you, but I do know you somehow. You're very familiar. Your energy is very familiar. But I don't think we've ever met. Now you do have like a nursing, healthcare, healer energy around you. But you know what? As I say that, you've put so many people ahead of you your entire life, and you've put so many of your own dreams and wants behind you to say, okay, I'll do that a little bit longer, and then, okay, I'll do a little. So you've put so many things aside for yourself, for everybody else, that I can't imagine what you were going to do with your life if you were to actually open up that box and go through it and decide all the things you were going to do. People would just, I think, run because there's a lot, and it looks like a lot of fun. I think opening up that box would be really exciting, and it would be there's a word for it, but I can't even think of it right now. It's a big word, and I'm not thinking big words. It would bring nostalgia. That's the word. Bringing back all that. Finding out that you could still do it all, or that you could do much of it. You have played the role of healer. Is there 2 sons? Is there 2 boys around you? Yeah. And that would be your. That would be where your main focus has been, and you've put so much aside for that. Me, I just tie my children up and then I do what I I always tell people, I'm like, bring your kids, I have cages. They look at me. And then my 2-year-old took the dog kennel out in the yard in front of the street and went in and pulled the door shut and sat there. People are walking by. I'm like, why are they staring? I'm like, oh, this is the kennel. It was great. It was really fun. So yeah, so you, and I'll tell you, you are the apple of their eyes. You are their universe. You are their world. So that I think is to let you know that everything that you've gone through, everything you've done. All moms, I think, need to hear that, and upstairs recognizes that. You also have a very strong faith that it looks like it's, our faith is tested every now and then, and yours looks like it's been tested, but you have a really strong connection. It may not be from this lifetime, but it feels like you may have lived a life of a nun or something in a previous life. So if you felt a draw towards that in this, it was probably not this life, but it was residuals of that was a good life, and it felt, it meant a lot. And so you have an old soul that is connected, and you are the person, you are the sister, you are the one that everybody comes to. And I don't mean like sister with a habit, I mean like the sister, brother, sibling. You are the person people come to, and it's funny because you're not even the most level-headed one of them all. You're the emotional one. You react emotionally, and then you get your bearings. So you're not the one to I'm good, now I can handle it. But you would make a great ER nurse, because that's when you can think. When you're not attached to the problem, you think like this. But when you are attached to the problem, everything is really crazy. But the fact that you are emotional keeps you grounded, and so you come up with the real creative ideas as well. So where you might have someone who is very earth thinking and is level-headed all the time and sees things as they are or should be, you go, well, that's a little too low. Boom, and you punch the ceiling out and what about this? So there's a lot of, and it has to do with your soul. So I think you're surrounded by old souls, but you all kind of harmonize and complement one another really well to where you're able to balance each other out. And as I say that, I think this has probably already happened, because when I read, I don't see death in any way, and I don't see that kind of thing. Unless a person is laying there and they have a message for someone and they're in a coma, it doesn't come through. I see you working together, cleaning out, a house, or separating things and putting property out and having all of these things to, deal with. But I also see you having cared for someone. Would it be like a motherly figure? Was there stroke involved?
Yeah.
Okay. And has she passed already? She's okay. And don't get all upset if she starts going through things or wants you to go through things or wants you to separate things. Don't get all like, oh my God, she's going to die. Don't, because the elderly, when they get to a point, and everybody I think gets to that point where they know and they don't want to they don't want to be a problem. And so just go with the flow and go with it and make it really easy, makes it really smooth. And she could live a really long time. It's just, this is what she's going to throw on you guys to make things easier, if she hasn't done it already.
We've already gone through her stuff.
Okay.
She's in a nursing home.
Okay, good. So that's already happened then. Okay. But it just shows, the energy that's coming through to me shows that I guess from her energy, she's probably sleeping right now too, so that's probably why I'm picking up so much on her. What time is it? No, she wouldn't be. Well, she might be. Hell yeah, man, if I was home, I'd be in bed. can remember, I feel like 4 or 5. She said so right. Yeah. And that when they get like that, to where they're sleeping a lot, that conscious break between where they are now and the other worlds kind of start doing this. And that's when they start seeing everybody who's passed on already. And she may even talk about that kind of stuff more and more. Maybe she's had a dream of that person, or she sees them. And it's just because they kind of meld those worlds. It becomes too close. They're just not sure, which is really cool. I think everybody's also had that. Have you ever had that vivid dream that you wake up to, and it's so real? You're hugging your pillow and crying at the same time. Going, oh, damn! It just was too quick. If you've ever had that, it's you've lost someone. Your brain is still, if you're asleep, they come in, it takes like 5 seconds, but they come in as you're waking. Your brain still can't say, you can't see the dead. You can't do that. So your dream mode says you can see the dead. But you're conscious enough to go, you're dead, you're not supposed to be here. And you're talking and you're hugging and you're catching up with them, and all of a sudden you're like, no, and you're waking up. It's because you have just that few split seconds for them to come in and see you, and it's real. This isn't made up stuff. It's like it's a real. If you ever have a dream of them, it's really cool. That's pretty awesome. It's pretty awesome. They usually come into like when they're really young, or they love the way they were a certain time, and they'll just pick a really good age. Usually they look good. It's like, oh, you look great. My dad always comes in his 60s. He was in the Air Force, and he'll be like in his boxer shorts and his white t-shirt, and he looks like he's in his 20s. I'm like, Dad, you look great. So it's funny, but he's always listening. It's funny stuff. And my grandma, it's funny, she's always pissed because this guy was an antique dealer, bought her house, and her house was the oldest house, the first house in Palos Park, Illinois. And he went through and started breaking walls. And I'm like, I called the neighbor, what the hell is the guy doing to the house? Because my grandma was pissed. It's like, I think he took the walls out of the bedrooms upstairs. I'm like, oh my God, she's breaking out. Yeah, it's funny. I Facebooked him the other day. I'm like, what is he doing now? Just move a chicken or something? Because I'm not talking about a girl living there. So. Funny. I don't know. I'm going to have to go snap. Funny. So yeah, that's like dreams and stuff. So that's very cool though. So I think part of what I'm picking up for you is like reassurance from not only from above, kind of woman that you are, kind of mom that you are, but also from your mom that everything's good. Everything is good. All right. And what's your name?
Debbie?
Debbie. Debbie just looked. That's funny. Oh, jeez. All right, Debbie. You're like the lookout. You are the make sure everybody's safe. You're the person that's making sure everything's okay and hunky-dory, everybody's good, and you're okay, and you have enough, and you're okay, and everybody's safe, and you're home, and they make you, they show this, like you've got off of your beach, you've got a long pier, and they have you running out, and you're checking, and you're making sure everybody's okay. You're like the lighthouse beacon, you're like the bringing everybody home, making sure everybody's good. There's a lot of past life that's happening here with that, though, because they keep putting you in there, like a sailor, like a person in the service. You're bringing everybody together, you're the fixer-upper that makes sure everybody's okay, and you have all of these chairs set up on your beach facing the water, and what this is telling me is that when people are in the water, like submerged in the water, this tells me they need some massive help. They're lost. They don't know what's going on with their life, and they're really destitute spiritually. And you've got all these chairs set up, and people are like gulp, gulp, and you like paddle into the water and up to the shore, and you go out and you snatch them up. I mean, you run into the water and you bring them up to your beach and you put them in a chair and you're like, just shut up and sit for a little while. And then, and then when they've had enough, you kick them back off into the water. So what this is telling me is you are not an enabler and you're not a crutch. You want to help people and you strengthen them You put yourself in harm's way even to help people. You get too involved sometimes to where you get caught up in the mess. Because you have to run out into the water to get them and drag them back in. And then everybody's going, why did you do that? But you get them in the water, out of the water, you set them down, they're just catching their breath, they're drying off, and you're kicking them back into the water. And this is because they can't stay on your beach. Okay? But you give them a time, and you know, you're not easy on people either. Meaning, you're straight. That's my husband. Oh, he's gonna just do this.
Where's the key to the cage?
I know, right? Okay. So you are, it's funny because I have to refer back to what I said earlier. When I do this, it's frustrating when you see what is possible and what can be, and others don't see it. And that's, I think, one of your biggest things, is when you see and know, and people don't get it, and it pisses you off, it frustrates you. So you're not like, oh, yep, you're beating them up, get it straight, figure it out. You don't want people to fall into that pity party. You are a person who helps to build people up, and you're not harsh. You're providing them shelter, but you, at the same time, are going, okay, you need to just get off your ass and just deal. You have to deal with it like this. And you're straightforward and honest. So if I was to say, do these pants make my ass look big? You'd go, absolutely. You're not going to, you're not going to sugarcoat anything or lie. You have nothing to lose, and only the person that you would lie to would. So you're definitely not a liar at all. You're quite honest. What I'm hearing to tell you is you have to remember you. You don't ever do anything for yourself. You don't do anything special for yourself. I don't think you've shopped for clothes for yourself in probably 10 years. You just have to take care of yourself. You splurge on everybody else. You do for everybody else, not for you. You don't do for you. Take, like a massage, shopping, and whatever it might be. Splurge on you. Take some time. And it doesn't have to be financial either. It could just be time alone, go to the movies, doing something but taking care of you and clearing out all of you're like a little soldier for God. It's like you are here fixing people and helping them and kicking them back on their path. Which is good. I think maybe let you know it's like a confirmation of what you're supposed to be doing. So regardless of what you do, be it a surgeon or working at a gas station, your main point is to help refocus people on their path, which is a good thing. It's a good thing. There's a lot of, I think, what time is it? It's like 7:40. Gosh, time flies by. It's already 7:40. Should I go into some questions, I guess, since we're going to do this until 8? Should I do some questions? Does anybody have any questions, or? Yeah.
When you were reading me before, that was the man's husband. And I was just wondering what he did to say like not me.
No, not at all. He absolutely adores you, and he absolutely loves you, and he will protect you every day that you live. He absolutely holds nothing. He admires you. His whole energy towards you is like lovey-dovey, loves you, loves you, loves you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There is no animosity, period, at all. At all. Just 100%. And pay attention, because if he's that protective of you, and you hear something sometime, listen, because it's probably him, and it'll come through in that voice, too.
Right.
And it feels like if I wanted to liken him to a dog, I'd have to say like a bulldog.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see animals? Do you see animals?
I do, yes. Animals come through the same way humans come through spiritually. My girlfriend had a dog who was a Great Dane Rottweiler, and I loved reading for her because when he'd come through, he sounded like Sean Connery. I'm like, you're just so hot. If I was only a dog. Yeah. But he did. He was a super sexy dog. I wrote a book. I put him in the book too because I was so enthralled with the dog. His name is Magic.
Do they stick around you then?
Oh Always. Animals are the same way. They do go to heaven. I know that they say that they don't, but animals will stick around. Sometimes, I've read for people before where the animals come with them, just like the gentleman came with you. And they talk just the same. They have a voice and they say what's going on. And like animals are a great way for like Nicole Brown. What was it? Her name? O.J. Simpson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Her dog. Oh my God! Tell the story. All right, he was there. He saw everything. Murders and stuff like that are great because if there's an animal there, the animal will tell me what exactly happened, and that's what's pretty awesome. And people don't expect animals to talk, well, they do.
Okay, so we had a yellow lab pass away maybe a month ago, and I always worry, like if he's around and I'm not paying attention to him, do they like sense that? Or I don't know if I should be saying, come here, bear.
Well, animals, no, because they know that you don't sense them, but they will, they'll lay at your feet. They'll do the same kind of thing that they would have done before. You don't have any other animals in the house then? You do. Pay attention if you've got other animals because they will sense them as well. Cats will definitely pick it up. But other animals will pick them up. And but they don't know. I've never, thinking back, I've never seen them like get perturbed or anything if you're not paying attention to them. But you can sense it. I think you feel it. You might even hear it too. You might even, something knocks over, that kind of thing. It's a lot of fun.
I was wondering if little children,
Yes, absolutely. They are
like
100%.
because I feel like I don't want to give anything away.
Right. No, it's 100. Yes.
There's like this extended eye contact that happens with little children, and this tiny little child mouthed hi to me in the store, and I feel like that there's a connection that wasn't there before with little children.
Absolutely. Well, and kids are just so superbly psychic anyway, intuitive. They only shut it off because they're told to shut it off. Animals too. You probably have that connection with an animal as well. If you're having it with children right now, you probably have it with animals too. But kids, they pick up your energy right away. And if you walk in with your kid, if they're just normally a shy child, you don't want to gauge this. But if you've got a pretty outgoing kid, and all of a sudden they don't want to talk to somebody, I wouldn't let them go over and hug them or anything like that. They're very psychic, and they probably pick that up on people as well. That the energy is kind, or kids might even see auras because they see everything else. So.
My son sometimes hears a voice in his head, and sometimes he saw a light by my head, and there's something spectacular about him.
Yeah.
And sometimes it scares him, and I don't know really how to help him not be frightened by these things.
How old is he?
He's going to be 13 on the 15th.
Oh, I would absolutely, then he can understand it. I would simply tell him that what he's seeing is spirit, is your energy, it's connecting, and if you're already connecting, then who knows what kind of like action you've got going on around you that he's seeing. Is he autistic or anything like that?
No, I've been told he's an old soul.
Does he have ADHD?
Intelligent. Yes, ADHD pretty badly.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Kids with ADHD are so misdiagnosed, and they really do, a lot of them really do need the meds because they cannot control the behaviors. But a lot of it is, if you've ever heard of it, they're indigo kids. So the children that are ADHD are just so highly intelligent and here to fix things and easily frustrated and pissed off at the world. And
I have a book at home in the library. I just checked out about indigo.
there you go.
Because both mine.
There you go. That's exactly what it is. And that'll help you understand it. Because if he's seeing that, he's just seeing your energy. And No, there's nothing wrong with it. He's just highly intelligent and capable of seeing those things. So it's a pretty cool gift. Tell him that too, say you got a gift.
Yeah,
Let it work.
I'm trying to get him to meditate, but it's hard for him.
Yeah, he won't
Unless he's
meditate.
medicated, then he
Yeah.
can try, but it's really hard for him.
Tell him to draw. Tell him to draw it out. If you can't meditate, you can draw it out.
Can they pick that up from a sibling,
Pick it up from a sibling.
like their spirits?
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Like a sibling who's passed over or living. Living, yes. It's pretty cool. Kids are,
Feel the vibe of.
yes.
I swear that my daughter, we have angels all the time, and I know when she sees them.
Mm-hmm. How old is she?
11.
11, and she sees them?
Well, she can't tell me, but she acts like she does.
Gotcha. She's, okay, I gotcha. So does she have a kind of disability or something?
Yes.
Perfect, okay. That goes to what I was saying before about having a life and choosing a life and the contract of what we're going to do with our life. And that's a difficult life to choose, to be unable to really communicate what's going on. But she's got her angels with her to make sure that she's never alone, and they hear her. They know what's going on, so she's got someone to talk to. And I guarantee that when she's doing her thing by herself, she's not alone. Do you have like a picture board or something that she can communicate with you? Like when she sees angels, she can let you know that she sees them.
No.
Is it possible to do something like that, or is that no? Like a picture or a way she can look at something to let you know that she sees them? She's very. I'm gonna stop asking questions. Let me talk to your daughter a second. Hold on, and then we'll move on. What's her name?
Savannah.
Okay, so Savannah, she does not like to go to bed at night. It doesn't look like she doesn't like to go to sleep. She must lay there quite a while awake. It looks like she tries, I see a bunny and then I see sheep. So she must be like really trying to find ways. It may not be that she's doing the counting sheep, but she's trying to find ways to fall asleep because it's like when her eyes are closed, her eyes are still working. They're still seeing things and they're still going on. Like her brain isn't able to shut down or turn these off. So she's definitely connected with somebody upstairs and she doesn't know how to disconnect that connection. So it's like sitting with your eyes open. And she also says, I think she's referring back to what I was reading about you, that she's unhappy with something that's happening around you right now because she doesn't like you being unhappy. She doesn't like seeing you sad. And she says that you shouldn't be sad for her, but she hears. She's like got like eagle ears. Like she hears everything. She hears like the drop of a pin. She hears and she shows me her coloring, and then she's like she just stops, like she's listening. So she wants me to tell you she hears everything. She understands everything. And everything is going so fast inside of her that she doesn't, I think that's probably what's going on, is she can't grasp it. Like we think, okay, I'm going to lift my hand, I'm doing this, I'm choosing to do these things. She has 50,000 things going on to where she can't go, okay, I'm going to lift my hand. It does not communicate to her. It happens so fast, like firing.
Yeah.
But she's a happy little girl.
Yes, she is.
You're her biggest worry. You're her biggest worry. Your happiness. All she cares about is seeing you smile. That's it. You know, at nighttime, maybe get her, if you don't have it already, get her a little, like white noise machine, something that'll play like crickets or summer or rainfall. Will probably help her block out some of the stuff she's feeling and hearing and seeing, focus on the noise. Maybe help her fall asleep at night. Because that's what she says, it's the only thing that she has trouble with is unwinding, calming down. Yeah, she's sweet though. Any other questions?
If I lighten up, will my son come around more?
Did you what?
If I lighten up, will my son come around more? It kind of sounds like I'm dragging him away with my
No,
son.
absolutely, no, you're not. They will come around. The thing is, it's funny because when you're okay, then they feel like they can finally move on, they can go. So he's probably checking on you to make sure you're okay, but the moment you start sensing him is when he leaves because he doesn't want you to hurt. And so it's funny, kind of like you're kind of caught here, because the moment you start going, you know what, I'm okay, I'm all right with this, he's going to go, okay, she's good, she's good. Imagine this, okay, you died, all right, and your family is sitting around, and the people that you love the most, and they can't let go, they can't go on, they're horribly upset, they're just distraught over your passing, and you're sitting here watching this, and you're going, I'm okay, and then I'm happy. I went to God. I had ice cream with Jesus. I'm happy. And you can't get this point across to them, and it causes them a lot of pain because they don't want. They're happy. They're good to go. You know, we just unzip this and we step out, and so he wants you to know he's okay. He's happy. He's good. You know, he's dealt with everything. He wants you to be that as well. So when you think of him, when you think of those passed on, you want to think of them, and you know, we might shed a tear, but he wants you to end it with a smile or a laugh or a happy thought. Because that's what he does. He's happy, he's good. He doesn't want to see you in pain or suffering at all.
This is his daughter, and I really feel wrong when she visits me.
Okay, well, that would make sense. And it's funny, I didn't even pick up on that. I did. He came in so fast and then left.
Yeah, and I meant to smack him for that, he couldn't hung around.
Right?
Everybody else is getting old and standing there.
I think we
That
is funny.
Well,
We're gonna have a talk.
exactly. Talk to them because
Oh, I do
they
all
listen.
the time.
They listen. They hear you. Yeah.
I'm very open to this and always have. And I beg for two particular people to come through. I do this a lot, and they never come through. Why? Or I say, show me something, and never.
Well, with what I can say there, the one thing I have to show you, or I'm told to acknowledge, is a butterfly. I have to mention it's a blue butterfly, and then the initial S also, and what?
Keep going.
Okay. I'm sorry. I thought you were waiting.
No.
Okay. And there's a woman back here, and she is, I'm not going to get into height, hold on. Brown hair is shorter, it was cut short, and she looked like she was kind of like a seashell of some kind, or a shell of some kind. I'm not sure what it's a symbol for something, or she wants me to acknowledge water, or what. And then you've got, coming up here, this looks like a young boy, or a boy that's coming up here. And he looks little. I would have to say like 3 years old. This may even be like a child that was a lost pregnancy, that sort of thing. But there's a child that comes up, and he is right here, and then she's back further. And there's a T also that comes through, an initial T. And but the butterfly, when I watch this butterfly, May comes through, the month of May. And then I'm flipped to October for some reason, I don't know why. And assuming maybe either a stroke or breast cancer, something with her chest. And she is in just a long, white, flowy gown that shows spiritual freedom, ability to move on. But that might be why she's also showing her hair really short as well, as to represent a form of cancer, which may have been different at some point. But she wants me to acknowledge that. And then her throat she wants me to mention as well. I don't know why, but she wants me to mention throat. I don't know if there was a trach or something. She wants me to mention throat, air, and then my back all of a sudden just started hurting really bad, and I don't know why, but it might be all of a sudden lower back is just killing me. I might be twisting people together here. And then she just goes, and she goes with this hand. Well, I'm mirroring her, so she goes, and then she goes like this and goes, and I'm assuming that would be a kiss of some kind, if that means anything, or if she would have done that. But also a rope. She wants me to mention a rope. There's a rope. She wants me to mention a rope. And then a D, an initial D. I don't know if it's like a Daniel or an initial D for a Dan or something, but it's a strong big D. Does any of that make any sense?
All of it?
It does. Okay.
Yep. It's my grandma, I called her Dot.
Dot? Okay. So it's a big D.
Breast cancer, emphysema.
Oh, she has emphysema. Okay. That would make sense. She's never come through before? Well, she's like way back there. She's way back there. But she's there. I guess just let me know that she's there. I'm glad she came through.
Asking about her dad, just that her daughter was Savannah, and I decorated her room with butterflies. So she
You did?
I bought her butterflies to match the room.
That's fabulous. And that's great you did her as a butterfly, too. Butterflies for you. Transition. All right, well, is it? Yes, go ahead.
Oh, I just wanted to know, I have a granddaughter, Stella,
Uh-huh.
and we're always thinking that she's like an old soul, she's only a year.
Oh, yeah.
That's Casey's daughter.
Okay.
And we're always calling her Josephine because we think she's my mom.
Interesting. I wouldn't doubt it. How does she react when you call her Josephine? Does she react at all?
She's just sassy. Yeah. And my mom was sassy. And my mom would
Does she
always
have
say,
blue eyes? Is she really like
yes, big blue eyes. And my mom would always say, if I can never come through this life again, Casey, I'm going to pick you as mom. And best mom in the world. And you're an angel.
Does she do anything with her hand? Does she play with? Does she
Put her fingernails.
I wouldn't doubt that for a second. Absolutely.
So sassy. And she's
My grandma was Spitfire.
Taking advantage of it. She's probably just happy to be back. Speaking of that, my grandmother had given me, I love old books, and so my grandmother gave me 3 boxes of old books, and I finally, after like a year, I took them out and I put them on shelves. Well, yeah, as soon as I did this, my 10-year-old's in my room. There's a little girl in the room. She's just standing there, she's in white, and we're talking like major panic. The kid, he was destroyed for like a good year because this little girl kept coming in, and I'm like, she probably came in with the books, she's fine, leave her alone. So we did a cleansing to help her to go to heaven. Well, it didn't work. And all of a sudden, well, she was playing with all of the toys, and we had a dollhouse in my son's room, and I was like, okay, she's playing with the dollhouse, I have to put it in the basement. So we put the dollhouse in the basement. And then my son, he's in the basement, my 17-year-old, and he goes, Mom, that little girl, she's playing in the basement with that dollhouse. And she taps on my door, and she plays with all the toys, and I said, oh, she's back. Don't let your brother know. So when everybody was gone, I got my digital recorder out of hiding. This terrifies my 10-year-old when I have this out. He's like, oh, you're talking because he came in with the books, and I'm like, I can't understand you. I know your name starts with an E, but I don't know what I don't get it. You have to clarify it. So I'm recording, and I get right into the recorder, and I was like, okay, I know you're here, so let's chat. You can't be here. I have a better idea. I said, if you really want to be with this family, you have to go to God, and you have to say, I want to go back down with that family. And that's what you got to do. So either way, you're either going to go up there and love it so much you don't want to come back down, or, you know. So she left. She's gone after I said that. So my recorder, I forgot, I left it on the bed. And my son gets home and goes, why is that out? Oh, the girl's back, isn't she? I'm like, no, she's not. So he was petrified. But anyway, I decided to go on to Ancestry because I'm like, I know I can't make out what she's trying to say. She's just too little or something. And found out that my grandmother's sister, who they never talked about, was Ella. She died when she was 3.
Mm.
Yeah. So I'm like, that's why she can't. She's just mumbling. She's playing with everybody's toys. So I told my husband, if we ever have a daughter, we have to have Ella in there somehow because it's my grandma's sister coming back here. And she'll be pissed because I told her. You come back now. So, but I understand it. So. Well, thank you guys so much for coming tonight. You have a question?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm sorry,
No.
I have to ask.
Yes.
When you were over here, you thought that you might be twisting things a
Yeah.
little bit, and you were kind of going into the boy in the water,
Yes, yes.
the S initial, and the butterfly.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure, but I'm thinking that may have been going this direction.
So it's paralleling both of you then. So
I
it's
didn't
real
know.
strong. Okay.
Maybe you could,
Elaborate.
with
So-
her.
Okay, so the little boy that came through, like I said, he had to be about 2 or 3. He's a little blondie, and he doesn't say anything. He just comes through, and he just walks out of the water and stands there, and he doesn't say anything. So he wants me to obviously acknowledge him, but I don't know if he's unable to communicate that, or if he's just not sure what to say. He just wants me to see him, and he's a little cutie pie. He doesn't look like either of you. His face is more, I don't want to say square, but his face is definitely wider. Like your face is long. His face is wider. And he's doing this or something with his finger. He's pointing at something with his finger. He's not, like, he doesn't want to point. He wants to crook his finger. So he's pointing, but he's doing this. He's not pointing at someone. I don't know if that was something in a family where you don't actually point at a person. You've been taught, 1 forward and 3 back at yourself or something like that. Trying to scare you out of doing this to him. But he's doing this. He's pointing with a crooked finger. So he's trying to get a point across without being mean, I guess, or being harsh. He's trying to acknowledge somebody else. Trying to acknowledge someone. But he's not talking. I feel like there's a loss there, like miscommunication of some kind where he's concerned. People aren't clear about him or aren't sure about him. So he would either have been, he could have passed as a baby and been 2 or 3 right now at this age, or he could have passed when he was 2 or 3.
Oh, so it's
Hmm?
So I still think it's with them.
I don't know. He's not saying anything if nobody else has any ideas of who he is.
Excuse me. I need to know if my mom's okay. If she's happy.
I don't see her. What I can tell you about her, I can't see her, but through you, there's something about being able to finally eat again. So something about her stomach, like being able to eat. I don't know if she was sensitive to acidic foods or what, but she's excited that she's able to eat and she's able to, put something in her stomach, like she's able to fill herself up. I don't know if that makes any sense.
They were always telling her she couldn't have this and couldn't have that.
Was she diabetic or something?
Yeah, that and a bunch of other things.
Well, it's funny because once you go up there, you can do pretty much whatever you want. So if you had any kind of restraint in his lifetime, I'm sure that would explain why she picked the kitchen. We pick our, we pick our heavens. We pick our room in God's house, and everybody picks what they want. Some people pick a chair by a lake, and some people pick a boat, and some people go fishing. One guy was paralyzed his whole life, and he came through to tell everybody he was finally driving a truck. Yeah. One guy was golfing, and he told his son, "It's so great, I never lose my balls up here." But no, I'm sure she's happy. She's up there. You can't be anything but happy.
That's what I say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, again, thank you all so much for coming tonight. It was a lot of fun. It's good to know everybody. If you have anything, like questions further for tonight, you can go just contact me on my website. It's RebeccaFoster.co. So it'll bring you right to my connection page and everything. I have business cards, but I don't think I have enough. I meant to grab a stick. I didn't. I ran, like I said, I ran out the door. All right, thank you so much, you guys. Thank you. Oh, and this is going to be on YouTube, so you'll be able to listen again too. I'm going to put it up on YouTube through my website. So if you go to the website, it'll just say Energize Zone and then a link.